Alright, hello everybody, back with another video. I hit level 96 on my Stormweaver Spark character, and not getting too burned out, but decided to take a little bit of a break and play something else. I still don't really have a super strong bossing character, so I decided to check out this stacking shenanigans that people are doing. That seems to be handling bosses relatively well. So yeah, I decided to level up a new character. This is on, I think, day 2. I started this yesterday. Level 47, cranking through the campaign on a monk here. I'm going to show you a little bit of the gameplay first, and then I'll go back to town and show you what kinds of uniques I used, and as well as the passive tree to get to this point. So I'm here at the little druid dude. This is the kind of damage that I've been doing pretty much throughout the campaign. You can kind of ignore most mechanics here because I'm just doing a lot of damage. So it's kind of nice. I cleared out a good chunk of this zone, but you can see here that with Ice Strike I'm also just doing pretty good, wave clear on packs of mobs like this. Herald of Ice, I should say. Herald of Ice explosions doing lots of good damage there. So let me go ahead and get to the next zone here, waypoint. I'll head back to town. Yeah. And show you the leveling setup. I'll also put some links in the description to some other build guides that I did not make, but that I am following, or loosely following, to get this build online. Okay, so let me grab a couple of these things out of the stash here. These are some things that I started with and have swapped out of at this point. Okay, so, and just because I'm OCD,
here's what I've got.
Let me get rid of this thing. Okay. Alright, so first and foremost, probably the most important item is a Pillar of the Cage God. I like it because you don't have to really do anything with your weapon for the entirety of the campaign. You just wear this thing. It's starting at level 1, or level 2 rather, when you get into town. And yeah, you just wear this. So I found lots of these while mapping on my main character, and so I just corrupted several of them, and I hit this one that had like chaos damage, and so I don't really know if this is any good, but it was the best one that I corrupted myself, and so yeah, I just went with this one. I socketed in some cold damage, some glacial runes there, and so at level 2 you're getting a bonus, what is that, 26 to 41 damage. That's pretty good compared to the base physical damage on the weapons, so yeah, early levels you are just absolutely blasting. The skill that I played with early on, oh, what is it called? I think it's called like Glacial something, Glacial Fissure maybe. Let me just find it really quickly. The skill that I was playing with initially was, Glacial Cascade, sorry. And you socket that with, I think it's called Upheaval, and this creates additional fissures. So anyways, you get like some nice AoE, you get a nice AoE attack that does a lot of damage thanks to the raw damage here on the Pillar of the Cage God to start in Act 1. And you pretty much blast through all of Act 1, one-shotting, two-shotting, pretty much everything. It's pretty awesome. Also wearing a Ghost Drive from level 1. I bought this one, corrupted. Actually, no, I think I corrupted this one myself as well. I had lots of Ghost Drives from grinding to level 96 on my other character. So this is obviously a really good item to start. Gives you a ton of effective HP, not to mention some chaos resistance. Really good leveling item right off the bat. The Innsmouth Shabby Hood is another thing that you can start with. I think that there's like an attribute helmet but I don't have one of those, so I didn't really find out about that until later. So I think there's some sort of attribute stacked helmet. It's got like a bunch of strength, dex, and int or whatever that's probably better. But I just played with this until level 11, or level 10, at which point I could put on the gold rim to deal with resistances early game. Another good item to start with when you're leveling up in Act 1 at the very beginning, assuming you can buy these things if you're playing in softcore trade. Luminous Pace. So I corrupted this one to have 12% movement speed instead of 10. It's got some int on there, which is nice. Max life coming from the rune. Shifted over to a Wanderlust, though, at level 11. It's got 21 move speed and then socketed some resistances here with the Soul Core. So that is pretty much the setup, the 4 sort of key items. Other important items to have starting off, Blackheart was nice. Just giving you some additional flat damage with the Intimidate as well. Midnight Braid for some additional resistances, also kind of nice. But I switched off of these relatively soon. For Blackheart, I switched over to the Pulsarkelm at level 12. This thing is really sick if you are playing Ice Strike with Herald of Ice. Enemies chilled by your hits can be shattered as though frozen. So you get the Herald of Ice effect even if they're just chilled, right? So it says here, while shattering an enemy with an attack, normally they'd have to be frozen for that. You get the effect on chilled enemies as well. So that is super busted. You want to make sure that you're not running Elemental Focus support gem if you have one of these rings here. So I switched off of the Blackheart over to the Pulsarkelm relatively early. I also switched off of the Midnight Braid over to a Meganord's Girdle. I didn't know about this item initially when I started playing. I think I found out maybe like level 15 or 20 as I was looking at my build guide a little bit more in depth. This thing has 45 strength, which is going to be really, really good. That's like an additional, gosh, what is that? 90% increased weapon damage. I mean, you can wear this at level 1. That's insane, right? So you're just going to have insane damage starting off, if you play with the Meganord's. So that pretty much deals with the unique items. I'm going to talk a little bit about the, here, let me just put these back. I'm going to talk a little bit about the skill setup that I'm using and what I started with. So, like I said, I started with that Glacial Cascade with Upheaval. That got me to Ice Strike, okay? And so as soon as I got Ice Strike, I instantly 5-socketed this. I had a leftover Greater Jewelers from mapping that I used. And the things you want to be socketing into here, you're going to be doing a lot of freezing, so Ice Bite is good. Martial Tempo for attack speed, Primal Armament for more weapon LE damage, and Crescendo is kind of nice. Ice Strike does this like combo thing, so on the third attack you get this really big damage boost on the third attack. This allows that to just happen twice, so that's pretty good for single target when you are trying to burst down a boss. The Tempest Bell is pretty cool. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really read this that much. I don't know exactly what's happening here. All I know is that it does a lot of AoE. So you build up a little bit of combo by attacking. So you're going to be using this on single target as well. And then as soon as you can drop the bell, you do. And for whatever reason, you just do a lot more damage. You do a lot more freeze buildup, and you do a lot more stun buildup. I think it says that it does stun buildup or something. Yeah, at the end there it says, elemental ailments applied to the bell causes shockwaves to deal extra damage of the corresponding type, and hits which would have caused knockback increase the area of effect of the shockwaves. All I know is that whenever I drop this bell down, I do a shit ton more damage, and I also freeze and usually stun the mob, so that's pretty sick. Overabundance skill support gem on the bell, so you can use it multiple times. Rage, coupled with some rage on hit gems. Okay, so you're always like stacking up to 30 rage when you are on single target. That's also a pretty good way to scale some damage. And then the other support gems I have in here are just things that were from the build guide. Heavy swing for more damage, glaciation for more freeze buildup, right? So when you drop the bell, you're almost guaranteed to freeze the boss or the rare that you're dealing with. That's pretty much all that I used for the first 2 acts. As soon as I got Herald of Ice, I guess I got this in Act 1 as well. I played with this as well. This just like causes you to have big freeze pops all over the screen. If you've got high monster density, then you're just going to explode the whole screen. You get magnified effect for more AoE, cold infusion for extra cold damage, and then I don't really know what to do here. You're not supposed to do elemental focus in here when you've got the Pulsarkin ring. So I've just got blind in here. There's probably something better, but I honestly don't really even need it, so I'm not even worrying about it until I get higher level. Yeah, so that was the skill setup. And then for the passive tree, you're doing some stat stacking, right? Pillar of the Cage God. So I pretty much just gunned for some attributes. I think originally I was taking some strength, but I've changed those back to some int and dex for requirements. I could probably change a lot of these back. I don't know if I need the int, but yeah, I basically blitzed for Flow Like Water and then Essence of the Mountain. That's just some extra cold damage for Ice Strike, pretty good. And then I basically just went... The goal was to get down here, right? To get Polymathy and Jack of All Trades. This is just some good attribute stuff. Plus you're just stacking attributes on your way there. I will note that Martial Artistry seems to be a pretty sick node as well. I'm wearing a quarterstaff, so I get some attack speed, and then I get accuracy and crit damage bonus. I am going to be scaling crit later, but you get the 25 dex here, which is an additional 10% attack speed. So you get 16% attack speed for 3 nodes, which seems pretty good. I did take Eternal Youth pretty early. I don't think that this can really be a bad thing, especially when you're wearing a Ghost Ride. You're going to have a pretty substantial amount of energy shield. So this basically just flips what your flask applies to and also flips what your recharge applies to. So normally you recharge energy shield and your flask applies to your life. This just flips that. So your flask applies to your energy shield instead, which is really awesome. You want to couple that with, preferably some sort of instant recovery on your life flask, and you're going to be able to like very, very easily sustain up your ES. Because one thing I will say with this build, I don't particularly feel tanky at all, but because my damage is so high, I can basically just blast through stuff and use my flask to top myself off. So that is pretty much the setup. Like I said, I'm going to link a couple of build guides in the description that I'm following right now. I'm following Zizarin's Ice Striker Invoker guide to really sort of look at the skills and the support gems, the items, and just some of the commentary he has about like how to use the skills in combination with each other. That's sort of what I've been focusing on for that aspect of the build. And then I've got Empyrean's stat stacking mercenary leveling guide as well. That's what I've been focusing on for the passive tree. I figure respecs are easy enough that it doesn't really matter if I commit to some things. I can always change it later, no big deal. So those are the 2 things that I've been going with, and I've been having great success. I've just been blasting through stuff, really haven't gotten stuck on anything. I think I've died a couple of times early game by getting surrounded by some monsters, but that's about it. So if you have some currency and you're looking to invest in a couple of decent unique items, one other thing, I'm wearing this Grip of Winter. This is kind of whatever. Just adds a little bit of cold damage and freeze buildup. If you have some currency that you're willing to put into a leveling character, yeah, this is a good thing to try. I'm excited to see how I can scale this into the late game once I get there to try to do a little bit of bossing. So I'll perhaps do an update video once I get to the end of the campaign, get into some mapping to show you guys how that's working. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.